Recognition is often described as a moment of beauty, but for twin flames, it is rarely gentle. It arrives like a sudden pulse of memory breaking through the surface of consciousness, a moment where the soul says yes before the mind can understand what is happening. People describe it as familiarity, intensity, or a strange sense of inevitability. But beneath all these sensations lies something deeper, the awakening of the parts of the soul that were never healed. According to Dolores Cannon's regressions, every soul carries imprints from past experiences, both in this life and in many others. These imprints rest quietly under layers of personality, beliefs, and emotional defenses. When twin flames meet, the energy exchange acts like a catalyst, stirring everything that has been suppressed. It is not simply attraction, it is activation. The encounter unlocks memories of agreements, unresolved pain, and ancient bonds that the conscious mind cannot yet name. This is why the initial connection feels overwhelming. The soul remembers, even if the person does not. In a brief moment, the heart opens wider than it ever has, and in that opening, every wound becomes exposed to the light. The unhealed parts, the forgotten traumas, the hidden fractures from past incarnations rise to the surface with surprising force. Love does not come alone, it brings everything buried beneath it. For one of the twin flames, this awakening feels like homecoming. For the other, it feels like losing control. This imbalance is not a sign of weakness, but part of the soul contract designed long before either incarnation. On some level, the recognition reminds both individuals of a promise to help one another evolve, even if the process is painful. The shock of recognition also dissolves the illusions that the ego once used to feel safe. The identities carefully constructed over years begin to tremble. Patterns that once worked no longer make sense. Unexplainable emotions rise without warning. Fear, longing, vulnerability, attraction so strong it feels like gravity. The soul's truth pushes forward, while the mind struggles to keep up. One of the most striking aspects of this moment is its speed. It bypasses logic completely. A glance, a sentence, a shared moment can unlock a flood of emotional and spiritual memory. It is as if the meeting triggers a vibration that both souls have waited lifetimes to feel again. And with that vibration comes an undeniable knowing. Life cannot remain the same. But awakening is not comfortable. Recognition forces both souls to confront parts of themselves they avoided for years. It asks them to see their shadows, their fears, their patterns of protection and withdrawal. It challenges the illusion of separation and reveals the truth of their connection. This shock, though painful, is sacred. It marks the true beginning of the twin flame journey. It is the moment love stops being a concept and becomes a mirror, reflecting everything that must be healed, transformed, and remembered. When twin flames meet, the energy between them is rarely balanced in the beginning. One soul often feels ready, open, and willing to explore the connection, while the other experiences something far more destabilizing. This imbalance is not random. Dolores Cannon explained that souls carry different levels of readiness depending on their past life experiences, karmic cycles, and the emotional lessons they chose before incarnating. Because of this, the encounter hits each soul differently, and for one of them, it arrives like an earthquake from within. This soul is often the one who becomes the runner, not because they want to run from love, but because they are suddenly confronted with an intensity that collapses their defenses. The connection vibrates at a frequency they are not accustomed to feeling while in a human body. The energy awakens memories, emotions, and spiritual truths that they have not yet learned to handle consciously. It is not a lack of love, it is an overflow of it. From the outside, it may look like fear of intimacy or emotional unavailability. But inside, the experience is far more profound. The energy of recognition shakes the foundation of their identity. Everything they believed about love, relationships, and their own emotional stability begins to crumble. The patterns they used to survive and protect themselves suddenly stop working. This collapse feels like losing control, and for a soul that spent lifetimes building emotional armor, this is terrifying. The overwhelmed soul often feels exposed. The connection makes them feel seen in a way they have never experienced before. Every vulnerability, every secret insecurity, every hidden wound becomes visible through the mirror of their twin flame. Dolores Cannon often shared that deep soul connections trigger dormant memories, not only of past life relationships, but of unresolved pain. These memories rise like waves, fast and unexpected. The soul does not have time to process or prepare. It reacts instinctively. This instinctive reaction is self-protection. The overwhelmed soul pulls back not because they reject the connection, but because they do not know how to stay present with the intensity of it. The energy feels too big, too fast, too truthful. Their nervous system responds as if it is being flooded. Some feel anxiety, some feel confusion, some feel the urge to retreat into silence. Emotionally, it is as if a spiritual spotlight has been turned on inside them, revealing everything they were not ready to face. Another reason this soul feels overwhelmed is because the meeting challenges their sense of self. They begin to feel emotions that do not align with their logical understanding of what love should be. They feel drawn toward the connection and terrified by it at the same time. This inner conflict creates pressure, and pressure creates retreat. Yet beneath all this fear lies something sacred. The overwhelmed soul is not breaking, it is awakening. The earthquake is not a collapse, but a rearrangement. The soul is being prepared for growth, healing, and transformation. And although they may step back, the connection continues working within them, reshaping their inner world in ways they cannot yet articulate. The awakening of the chaser is not a deliberate choice. It is an inner ignition. Something ancient comes alive the moment the connection is felt. While both souls are touched by the encounter, the chaser is the one who remembers first, not through logic, but through a deep, unshakable knowing. It is as if an inner door opens, revealing a love they have carried for lifetimes. This recognition is not merely emotional, it is spiritual memory resurfacing with force. For the chaser, the meeting is experienced as a return, not a beginning. They often describe it as finally finding what was missing, even if they never knew it consciously. Their heart races toward the experience, not away from it. Their entire being leans forward, pulled by an invisible thread. There is clarity, even when circumstances appear impossible. The chaser does not chase out of desperation, but out of remembrance, because something within them whispers, "This is the one." It is this recognition that activates their spiritual journey at full speed. This awakening also brings heightened intuition. The chaser starts sensing emotions that are not theirs, dreams become vivid, and synchronicities increase. They feel called to understand what is happening, to decode the connection, and to heal wounds that rise suddenly to the surface. Their soul moves first because it is ready, because it has reached a point in its evolutionary cycle where remembering is the next natural step. Yet this awakening is not without challenges. The intensity can be overwhelming, but in a different way than it is for the runner. The chaser feels compelled to move toward the connection, to nurture it, to stabilize it. This can lead to confusion when the runner pulls away. The chaser cannot comprehend at first why something that feels so divinely aligned could trigger fear in the other. Their instinct is to bridge the gap, to soothe, to explain, to hold everything together. This moment marks the beginning of profound internal work. The chaser is forced to confront their own patterns of attachment, validation, and longing. The connection pushes them to distinguish between genuine soul recognition and human expectations. They learn, often painfully, that their mission is not to pursue the runner, but to pursue their own healing. The connection becomes the catalyst that propels them toward inner transformation. What distinguishes the chaser's awakening is the speed with which they shift from human perception to soul awareness. They sense the purpose behind the encounter, even if they cannot articulate it. They feel guided, activated, awakened. And though the journey ahead is long, layered, and at times lonely, the chaser carries the first spark of understanding, a sacred memory returned to consciousness. This is where their part of the journey truly begins. For the runner, the connection does not enter as a gentle awakening, but as a disruption, an unexpected force that shakes the foundations of their identity. While the chaser remembers, the runner resists, not because they do not feel the bond, but because they feel it too deeply. The intensity threatens the structures they have built to survive emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. To the runner, the love appears not as a blessing, but as a loss of control. This soul has spent lifetimes mastering certain defenses: emotional detachment, self-protection, independence, and sometimes the illusion of certainty. The instant recognition of the twin flame connection confronts all of these defenses at once. Their carefully constructed walls begin to crack under a love they cannot rationalize. It does not match their expectations of normal relationships. It does not follow patterns they understand. It demands vulnerability, honesty, and inner exposure, elements they may not yet be ready to give. The runner pulls away out of instinct, not intention. Their nervous system enters a state of alarm because the feelings are too strong, too fast, too undeniable. Love, in its pure form, is not what frightens them. What frightens them is how the connection sees through them. It reveals their wounds, fears, and unresolved pain. It mirrors back the parts of themselves they have avoided or buried. This is why the encounter feels like being found out, as if the soul they have met can see behind every mask. The loss of control is not about losing the other person. It is about losing the version of themselves they have grown comfortable with. The runner fears the death of their old identity, habits, beliefs, emotional protections, and even their sense of autonomy. They fear the emotional flood that rises when the connection opens old wounds, childhood scars, or past life memories. The magnitude of what they feel forces them to retreat in an attempt to regain stability. Often, the runner tries to rationalize the experience. They may question the connection, minimize it, or convince themselves that they imagined it. They distance physically, emotionally, or energetically because it is the only way they know to breathe again. In reality, the withdrawal is a survival response. The soul is not rejecting the love, it is pausing to protect itself from being dismantled too quickly. The runner's fear of losing control is also tied to timing. Their soul may not be prepared for the transformation that the connection demands. The chaser awakens first because they are ready. The runner pulls away because they are not. And yet, despite the distance, the connection continues to echo within them. Even while running, they feel the pull. Even in silence, they hear the call. The separation is not a sign of rejection, but a sign that the runner needs space to slowly dismantle their defenses. It is the beginning of their own awakening, a process that unfolds not through pursuit or pressure, but through time, inner reflection, and the gradual willingness to face what the connection has awakened within. When twin flames meet, the present moment is only a doorway. The connection does not operate solely in the current lifetime. It activates threads woven across many incarnations. This is why the intensity feels disproportionate to the physical time the souls have spent together. The recognition is not just emotional, it is ancestral, energetic, and timeless. What rises is not only love, but the remnants of stories left unfinished. Past life echoes awaken the moment the souls reconnect. These echoes often appear as sudden emotions that do not logically align with the present situation. An inexplicable trust, a deep longing, a fear of loss, or even a sense of guilt. The runner and the chaser are not reacting only to each other. They are reacting to ancient wounds, promises, separations, and bonds carried from other lifetimes. For some, the connection may reawaken memories of betrayal or abandonment. For others, it rekindles memories of a love so profound it reshaped the course of entire lifetimes. These memories may not always come in clear visions or scenes. Sometimes they surface as physical sensations, an inner knowing, or dreams that feel real. Other times, they arise as déjà vu, an overwhelming familiarity, or an emotional intensity that seems to come from nowhere. The soul remembers, even when the mind does not. Often, what resurfaces are the unresolved endings, moments where one soul could not stay, where circumstances tore them apart, or where a lesson was left incomplete. These unresolved threads are what the twin flame encounter seeks to bring into awareness. The chaser may feel the urge to heal, repair, or reunite because they sense a story that ended abruptly. Meanwhile, the runner may feel a resurfacing of old fear, especially if past lifetimes involved loss or heartbreak caused by the same soul. Their retreat is not only from the present connection, but from the echoes of past pain resurfacing all at once. Dolores Cannon's teachings suggest that souls design their journeys with purpose, often returning to complete what was left undone. Twin flames are no exception. The reunion reactivates the soul contract, bringing forward what has been waiting for healing. Patterns, traumas, attachments, and emotions frozen in time. These echoes influence the dynamic in ways neither soul immediately understands. The chaser's deep pull is often rooted in a past life role as protector, healer, or devoted partner. The runner's fear may stem from a lifetime where love led to loss, sacrifice, or danger. Their reaction is not irrational. It is the soul remembering old wounds and reacting to prevent repeating them. The meeting becomes the catalyst for healing across timelines. The connection forces both souls to confront the residues of who they were, what they endured, and what they could not complete. It is not a punishment, it is an opportunity. The intensity is not a sign of something wrong, but of something ancient becoming conscious again. Past life echoes rise not to create chaos, but to be healed. The twin flame dynamic pulls these stories to the surface so they can finally be resolved, rewritten, or released. Through this process, both souls move closer to remembering not only the pain of their past journeys, but also the love that bound them across lifetimes and continues to call them back to one another. Long before their reunion in this lifetime, twin flames made an agreement, an invisible, unspoken pact formed in the higher realms. This contract is not written in words but encoded in energy, intention, and purpose. It is the soul's promise to awaken, evolve, and return to its original wholeness. And paradoxically, the path to that awakening requires both souls to trigger each other in ways no one else ever could. This contract explains why the twin flame dynamic is not calm, predictable, or easy. The connection is designed to disrupt everything that is false, unhealed, or stagnant within each soul. In many ways, the runner and the chaser are mirrors carrying their deepest shadows back to them. The triggering is not a punishment. It is the very mechanism through which the soul is forced to grow. The chaser's role is often to activate remembrance. They carry the energy of recognition first, pushing the connection forward and awakening the emotional truth buried within both souls. They expose the depth of the bond, sometimes too quickly, igniting fears that the runner has worked lifetimes to suppress. Yet this intensity is part of the agreement. The chaser was meant to open the door. The runner's role, on the other hand, is to ignite the chaser's wounds, abandonment, rejection, self-worth, attachment, and force them toward inner healing and self-union. Though painful, the runner's retreat is the catalyst that moves the chaser toward the very transformation their soul signed up for. Without the distance, the chaser might never confront the parts of themselves that seek validation or cling to external love for fulfillment. Both roles serve each other. The chaser awakens the runner, and the runner pushes the chaser into self-mastery. In this sense, neither is ahead or behind. They are fulfilling complementary halves of the same mission. Dolores Cannon's teachings emphasize that soul agreements are rooted in love, not suffering. Souls choose experiences that challenge them because evolution requires movement, sometimes gentle, sometimes seismic. Twin flames select one another not because they want an easy journey, but because no other soul could activate their transformation so precisely. The triggering is part of a sacred design. Each emotional wound brought to the surface is something the soul already intended to heal. Every fear illuminated by the connection is a gateway the soul planned to walk through. The hidden contract ensures that both souls will be pushed to their edges, broken open, and rebuilt into a truer version of themselves. This agreement also contains an important truth. The triggering only happens because of the depth of love between the souls. If the bond were superficial, the emotional impact would be negligible. The intensity itself is proof of the connection, proof of the contract. Though neither soul consciously remembers making this pact, their higher selves guide every step. When the runner flees, they are fulfilling their role. When the chaser pursues, they are fulfilling theirs. And beneath the chaos, the contract continues to unfold with perfect precision. This hidden agreement is what propels the twin flames into the next stage of their journey, one where the triggers are no longer enemies, but teachers illuminating the path both souls are destined to walk. The first separation between twin flames is often remembered not as an ending, but as the beginning of everything. It is the moment when the illusion of control shatters, the heart cracks open, and the deeper purpose of the connection finally reveals itself. For many, it feels like the ground disappears beneath their feet. Yet on the soul level, this phase is the exact point where the real journey begins. The separation usually happens suddenly, triggered by an emotional overload that neither soul knows how to navigate consciously. The intensity of recognition, the exposure of deep wounds, and the overwhelming remembrance of lifetimes can create a pressure that feels unbearable. The runner reacts first, pulling away not because they love less, but because they feel too much. They need distance to survive the storm inside them. The chaser, on the other hand, feels the separation like a psychic rupture, a tearing sensation that defies logic. Their heart knows something sacred has happened, something too meaningful to run from. But the very intensity that awakens the chaser is what terrifies the runner. It is in this collision of responses that the separation takes form. Dolores Cannon taught that many relationships acting as catalysts for spiritual awakening involve a planned separation. The parting is not accidental or random. It is orchestrated by the higher self as a necessary stage for growth. The soul understands that without separation, the pain that must be healed would stay buried in the subconscious. Distance becomes a divine operation table where the deepest wounds can finally rise to the surface. For the runner, the separation creates space to process the overwhelming emotions triggered by the connection. They must confront their fear of vulnerability, their avoidance patterns, and the ancient grief they have carried across lifetimes. Without the intensity of the chaser's presence, the runner can begin to unravel these emotional knots at their own pace. For the chaser, the separation becomes the beginning of a spiritual rebirth. It forces them to turn inward instead of outward, to stop seeking validation or safety in the other soul. This phase pushes them towards self-healing, self-love, and spiritual expansion. They learn to stand in their own light without collapsing under the weight of longing or fear. Both souls evolve in ways they could never achieve together at this early stage. The separation becomes the very furnace that refines them. It burns away illusions, attachment wounds, and limiting beliefs, revealing the essence of who they truly are. The first separation also activates the soul contract at a deeper level. Signs, synchronicities, dreams, and telepathic impressions intensify. The connection continues beneath the surface, reminding both souls that the journey is far from over. Even in silence, the bond grows. Even in distance, the awakening continues. And while the separation is painful, it is never purposeless. It marks the shift from the initial emotional explosion to the start of true inner transformation. It is the threshold where the love story evolves into a soul journey, one that will continue unfolding, leading both souls into the next chapter of their destined evolution. If this chapter of the journey brought clarity, healing, or recognition to your own path, take a moment to support the channel by liking the video, leaving a comment, and sharing your thoughts or experiences. Every interaction helps this message reach others who are awakening to the same truth. For those who feel called to contribute even more deeply, the Super Thanks option is available and helps keep this content alive and growing. Stay connected, stay present, and stay open. A new video continues this series in the next chapter of the Twin Flame journey. Don't miss what comes next.